So the first quality of the business analyst is to talk and talk. Try to talk as much as you can. So express yourself. If it is wrong, also that's fine. You are just starting anew, learning it anew. So business analyst is the one who tries to question, and gather information. Okay, so yeah, just try to express yourself, ask as many questions as you can while you are in the class, or if you get anything outside also, just shoot me in the group chat which we are having. Sure. Okay. Sure. Yeah, so first let's understand what is the business analysis practice. So business analysis is a practice of enabling change in the context of an organization by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver to stakeholders. So stakeholders are nothing but all the people who has a vested interest in the project. They can be business, they can be end users, they can be anyone outside who impose restrictions on the project. So business analysis is mainly a practice where we enable the change, whatever the change it is. So we are just changing the practice of manual work process to an automated one by implementing a software, or by we are understanding their needs and analyzing them and recommending solutions based on the current trends by using a specific software, or we are improving their software by understanding their needs. Whatever it is, that is called business analysis. And no wonder a person who follows this practice is called a business analyst. So a person who enables the change by acting as bridge between business and technical teams is a business analyst. So the main primary goal of a business analyst is to talk to the business in their language, in layman terms, if you have to say, ask them, probe them what they need, and come back, document them properly with proper tools in an understandable way to the developers and also to the business people. To the developers in the sense all the technical team, developers, QA, and everyone comes into that, and make sure that you bridge the gap between those two teams. That's what a business analyst in real time software IT projects do. So it differs from company to company, and it might differ from a software to software, team to team, but the whole responsibility of a business analyst is to fill that gap between the business and the technical team. So understand the requirements, translate them into functional requirements, which technical team will understand and implement it. So there will be a separate role called business systems analyst. We are not going to touch that because that involves technical knowledge about the application which you are using, along with the business and regular business analyst skills. So your main goal is to act as a bridge between the business and technical team. So main duties of a business analyst. The first and foremost thing is client interactions. You will be talking to your client, means all the people who are the stakeholders from the client. So it differs from project to project. If you are implementing a new software altogether, the client will allocate a separate team as the stakeholders whom you will be interacting regularly on periodically to gather the requirements from them and document them and supply to the technical team. And in some cases, if you are working on production support, maybe production support means if there is a project already implemented and you are working on their product fixes or any enhancements, then the team will be already existing and you will be trying to reach out to different people um, who are the owner of that particular part of that application. That those parts we will cover in the future, but main thing is to interact with the client periodically and on a regular basis to gather the requirements. And ownership of the requirements. When you gather the requirements, you gather everything from them, like from minute details to the major, the usages of the requirement, and you document them where it is accessible to everyone, and you will be the owner of those requirements. If the business has a question, he will come to you. If the developer has a question when he is writing the code based on your requirements, he'll come to you. If QA has a question when he is doing the test design, he'll come to you and he'll ask for the clarifications on what you have written. So you are the owner of the requirements. So business analyst will take the ownership of the requirements. And process reengineering. Process reengineering is nothing but if there is already a process which is well established that in that company, and if you are going to analyze it to make any betterments in that, or you are going to reorganize it and suggest some good or better approaches where they can implement it in a better way or make their daily life easier using that software, that is called process engineering. Okay, any questions?
No.
Okay, good. These are all basic topics. I just want you to get an overview of what a business analysis job and business analyst feels like. So, primary responsibilities. So, gather requirements using different elicitation techniques. Can anyone try to say what gather and elicitation means? How is a gather different from elicit? Okay. So no problem. So gathering requirements is if the business people or anyone is ready to give you something, you just go and take whatever they are saying and just document them. That's simply gathering. Elicitation is a process where you probe questions and you use different techniques to get the information from them. So sometimes they might be knowledgeable, but they are not smart enough or fast enough to articulate it to you. So sometimes they may not have time. So you have different elicitation techniques. Like we'll come into everything in detail in the next slides, but elicitation techniques are the ones which we use in different times to gather the requirements from different business people. Okay, and document them using industry or organizational standards. So this is the main part of business analyst role. So document whatever you have gathered using your efforts or use different elicitation techniques. But whatever you have gathered, you have to document it in a proper way. And don't worry about that. Every industry or organization will follow a separate like format for documentation. When you join a job, you will be given some, there are places where people document in excel sheets or documents, word documents, and then they store them on sharepoint servers, which is a common place which is accessible by all the business dev team, qa team, and everyone. And in some places you will have confluence or similar tool where you will document on the online pages and link them to your requirements. We'll have a session on Jira and Confluence as well, and I'll show you once we complete all the business analysis concepts. I'll show you how Jira looks like and how Confluence looks like, and I can explain you how I'll explain you how the requirements are documented and handled, how are they managed actually. Okay, and communicates them to the technical team. So communication is also an important aspect. So whatever you have gathered from the business, you know them very well now. You have documented them. You can give the document directly to the technical team for coding and testing purposes, but they'll have a number of questions while doing that. So beforehand, so it is a common practice to have a walkthrough session with the technical team to communicate whatever you have documented as part of a particular requirement or a user story. The user story requirements, these are related to different methodologies. We'll cover them up in the future slides. Okay, so don't worry about them. But your main thing is to communicate the requirements you gathered and documented to the technical team and track them during the development stage. So when they are implementing or coding it, just track them which requirement is in development stage. So you will be the right person to know which is dependent on which requirement. Let's say requirement A cannot be completed before requirement B, and if a developer picks up requirement A, then you can tell them that you need to implement this first, then only you can do this, or else it will not be testable. So something like that. You will have the overview or understanding of the requirements, and you will be able to track them during the development stage and handle any change requests. Even though if you have gathered all the requirements and taken the approval from your business team, it's obvious that the change requests always arise. So they'll say that I need these two fields first on the screen, and like in next 2 3 days, they'll have their some kind of internal discussion, or something pops up, some other new requirement pops up in their team, and they come back saying that we need a third field too. So by then, if the requirements are already documented and the dev team already has taken it into their team, and they have already coded it, and if it is in the testing status, you cannot really change the requirement and send it back to the technical team again. So in these cases, in most of the projects, you will have something called change board or change control board, where these requests are raised, and the committee in that board will review that, and they will plan it for the next releases. If if it is a really pressing need or anything, they will just request you or your project team to incorporate it and handle it as a change request, which will sometimes increase the project timeline also. So you will get you will get interview questions like, how will you handle change requests? So when it comes to interview preparation stage, I'll give you detailed notes and explanations how we will handle them. But yeah, you will be asked about this. The change request is some kind of important topic where most interviewers like to touch it. And next, facilitate the UAT. UAT is nothing but the end users. Let's say if you are developing a software like a banking software, it will be used by n number of tellers. Like if you are developing a banking software for TD Bank, let's say, or Bank of America, you are all in US, right? So Bank of America. So once it is developed, the personal banking applications will be same for the whole Bank of America, and all over the US it will be used by each and every teller sitting in the banks. So you will pick a set of users in where you are sitting, like in the head office, or you will pick some people from different branches. So you will prepare a plan of action sitting with your testing team and business team, what all features you need to test in that, and you coordinate that. It's usually the role of a business analyst to coordinate the user acceptance testing also. Like user acceptance testing is the final stage of the project, where once everything is developed and IT team testing is completed, when it is due to release to the end users, some specific set of selected users will test the application to make sure it is running as per their requirements and norms. If there is anything major they see, they can stop the release and go for that. And if there are any just minor bugs which can be manageable or which have workarounds, they will go with that. Or else, if there is time, they will resolve them before deploying it to the end users.